days earlier, they'd had a trial where they were like, is Harrow trying to free Amit? And they were like, stupidly judged for the defendant. Days later, Harrow shows up. Some god is wreaking havoc. I wonder who could be. What do you mean? What? You guys are idiots. Hey, Internet. It's Paul. It's Matt. The Dork Lords. We are here talking about Moon Knight, the season and possibly series finale, Gods and Monsters. We open with a shot in the real world showing Harrow taking Amit's statue from the dead Mark, recently shot Mark, leaving the temple, Layla following them. We end pre-credits with Mark/Steven back in the imaginary asylum. They work together and see that Dr. Harrow is in fact not real. Then they wake up back in London. They're still tethered to the bed for some reason, but anyway, they have two goldfish now, kind of symbolizing that Steven and Mark have a cooperation.
Buddies forever.
Yeah, that's right. But then we get the mid-credits little stinger, which shows Harrow, who now is also, through the events of the show, is the vessel for Amit. Apparently is in an actual asylum, if everything's to be believed. He is then kidnapped from the asylum and executed by Mark's third personality, which we've been assuming was going to show up. Well, does show up in this mid-credit scene, Jake Lockley, while Khonshu looks on. He kills Harrow and then presumably Amit as well, because Amit no longer has a vessel. Before I ask you what you thought of the episode, Paul,
yes,
I might as well settle our bet. I foolishly let you goad me into a salt licorice bet. Because I was like, I'm not so sure about this. You're like, oh, well, I guess you're not sure about it. I'm like, fine. I put salt licorice on it. So anyway, my bad. I take responsibility.
Yeah.
I said I would eat the worst candy in the history of mankind if we didn't get the actual scene of the murder of Layla's dad.
Yeah.
Thus,
I'm not sure if your wife would actually believe your claims that you hate them.
That's true. That's right. He eats them an awful lot for somebody who says
oh, this is terrible. Oh!
I will say that the reasoning behind my saying that we'd see the scene of the murder was that then we would see the reveal of Jake Lockley. That was the whole point of that. So by that reasoning, actually, as one of our commenters, Thomas, said, maybe that means you only have to eat half of a salt licorice. But no, by the rules I set forth, I must eat salt licorice.
Yeah, no, no. Sorry, nice try.
Thanks,
I don't know
Thomas.
how you're gonna. I don't know how you're gonna eat half anyway.
Obviously, that didn't happen. We did not see Layla's dad actually get killed, and what the hell happened?
No, we really didn't.
Might Jake have killed Layla's dad? Yes. I think the answer is that's a strong possibility that happened.
It's possible, I guess.
But we'll never know, or at least
we won't
anytime soon. So sure. So
I mean,
so here we go.
Here's the thing. I'm sorry. I'm going to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
So then your dread can continue. It's like that would mean that in that situation he blacked out and assumed that his partner. He names his partner as the one who killed him. So he was like, I woke up and they were dead. So it must have been my partner who's going to kill him. Then, it's like he's the one who kills him. So. A nice trick if it was really Jake Lockley that killed him.
Well, in other words, he blacks out. Jake kills a bunch of folks. They try to kill him. He's now wounded. He wakes back up and is like, oh, what happened? Oh, my partner must have killed these guys and shot me. Anyway, here we go. Bag.
Yes, here we go.
I love Haribos generally. Haribo gummy bears actually are my favorite candy, but Haribo Paratos salt licorice, not so much. They're designed to look like doubloons, just to fool you into thinking it's not a lethal poison. So here you go. Now, interestingly, it says on the package, it says right here. Extra Stark, 7.99% salmiak. Nope. It doesn't sound good. I'll just say that. Well, whatever that is.
What if you said it like this? Oh, salmiak.
All right. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pretend to eat this like I'm a guest at someone's house.
Ah.
So like they've just offered me salt licorice. Can I politely eat salt licorice without giving away that I hate it?
Okay.
All right. So here we go.
Yeah. I hope it makes it taste better, giving yourself an acting challenge.
That's right. Why, thank you, Paul, for inviting me over. Oh, look. Your whole extended family here and the cast of Moon Knight. Oh, I'm glad. Oh, what's that? You're offering me salt licorice? I couldn't. Not before dinner. I mean, oh, you're insisting. Ah, okay. Well, great. Thank you so much. I'll just grab one. That's fine. All right, here we go. Thank you again. Oh,
folks,
wow.
He's adding this drama so that you will be disinclined to want him to do it in the future. It's like, oh gosh, he's gonna have a little drama piece as a result of him also eating it. Look at him pretending to have bad facial reactions. He loves it.
I taste oh my God, I taste every bit of that salmiak. Delicious, delicious, Paul. Thank you.
Yeah. See, like as a result of this, you're going to develop an alternate personality that I'd love to have some.
God bless.
All right,
literally.
Oh,
hello. What's all this then? I loves me my salt licorice. It literally makes me shudder. Oh, I can't get it out of my teeth. Okay. All right. Well, that's kind of done.
That's the pain that lasts.
Let's talk for a second about. Oh, God bless. It's so salty. Oh, it's like you're drinking, like literally going to the ocean and like accidentally inhaling water.
Just imagine being in the where they're created and they're like, this needs something. More salt.
Imagine a whole bag, eating this whole bag. Why would anyone? Oh my God, it's the worst idea ever in the history of. Okay, anyway, all right. Let's talk a little bit more about Jake since we're talking about Jake. Oh.
Indeed, let's.
All right, so obviously, oh God bless. Obviously, Khonshu knew about him.
Yes.
Which is why he's so willing to free. Yes. Stephen and Mark, right? When Stephen and Mark are like, you have to free us. And he's like, that's fine.
Yeah. It's funny that he didn't even try to put him like, oh no, oh, darn it. Well,
you got me over a barrel. So, my question, the big question I have coming out of that is, now that we know Jake's a thing, how did the scales balance, Paul?
You could say that the reason why the scales balanced was because Stephen wasn't there. He was like, made frozen, not killed, really, just sort of frozen. And also that Jake Lockley was in a tomb that wasn't there either, present. So if, maybe it would have been different if when she was measuring them, Stephen and Mark, if Stephen's like, oh, well, why don't you just go and I'll go out over here and you can leave me behind and go to the afterlife. So maybe that's why they balanced, because they didn't balance when they were together, but once Mark was, frozen and Jake Lockley, as far as we knew at that time, in a coffin, in a sarcophagus, not released. So that's my theory.
I half followed that. Okay. So Mark on his own could go to the field of reeds, and he was theoretically separated from both of his other personalities in that moment.
Yes.
It's a bit odd. I mean, just in terms of, hey, we've reunited. When they reunite, and then their two hearts become one. That's when the gates of Osiris open, and they're allowed to go back. And so you're like, but wait, there's a third heart. You guys are not a complete person. In their minds, they are. I guess that's what it comes down to. In our minds, we're complete.
Sure.
It feels like it's a little loosey-goosey there with some of the
logic.
Really?
What? Wait, you're saying that the rules for the afterlife they should be more hard and fast.
Paul.
Yes?
The afterlife is a very definite thing. There are rules, and they're solid.
Let me call my priest.
Well, since we're still talking Jake, let's talk about the scene. So, in fact, this brings up another point. I think they went to the well a few too many times on the, whoa, a giant fight's about to happen. Break. Hey, it's over. They've done that throughout the season, and they did it here twice. They had the one with Harrow fighting the gods, which we'll also talk about later, but it's like, oh my god, a big fight's gonna happen. Cut away, cut back, everybody's dead. Here, and then it was Mark's about to die. Oh no! And then cut away, back, and Jake has apparently killed everyone in the street, except for Layla, notably, who witnessed it, because she's like, "What did you just do?" So Layla saw it happen.
Yes.
Do you think she'd at least be able to tell Mark, "Hey, look, this is what you or somebody just did"? Also, does his outfit look the same? Did he change? Does Jake have the Jake Moon Knight outfit?
The Travis Bickle outfit.
Up until Mark and Steven become fast friends in this episode, basically.
Sure.
They could account for the lapse of time. Well, that's probably the other guy. That's probably Mark. That's probably Steven. Well, now, when they have these giant lapses in time, like, for instance, Jake goes to an asylum and bumps off Harrow and, like, whatever period of time that took, how are they justifying it? Are they like, well, okay, I guess I just blacked out for a while? I mean, like, you think they would be invested in figuring out what the hell is happening. Why is there must be a third person. They must know that, right? They have to know there's a third personality, right?
Yeah, I would think.
We're good together, and we don't have to worry about the third guy. Oh, he's a terrible assassin? All right. He's killing all the right people, Paul. He's the fist of vengeance. Yeah,
that's certainly a reason to have a second season if they choose to have one.
Let's say they don't do a season 2, but Moon Knight shows up as a guest character in a movie. This is how he's still Moon Knight, right? He's Jake Lockley Moon Knight.
Okay.
Mark and Steven are freed, so they're not Moon Knight anymore, but
that would surprise me. I think they'd more likely want to show the characters that people know. And if you showed Oscar Isaac and all he did was talk in Spanish, I think people who knew Moon Knight would be disappointed.
Fair enough. But I liked the big kaiju fight. I liked the giant crocodile versus giant skeleton.
Yeah. That was all very well done.
It looked great. It was fantastical and a great way to finish this. I feel like overall this episode was not the strongest episode of the season. We just got through watching Severance, where you could argue that the final episode of the season was the strongest episode. So it's kind of cool when that build happens. Here, I feel like this episode wasn't the strongest in the season. Personally, I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, Paul?
I mean, it did what it's supposed to do. I guess it did leave me with a lot of questions. We don't know what the state is of Mark's relationship with Layla. They didn't answer that question. Now that she knows a number of his secrets, I mean, conceivably he could still have more secrets from her. But
like her dad's death. I'm off that bandwagon. Right.
Are you?
It cost me a salt licorice. I'm still drinking the water.
Let me suggest, the more you harp on that topic, the more you'll taste it. It's like, this taste just won't go away, and neither will my resentment.
Also, I did enjoy, and they showed a bit of that in the trailer, but I liked the shot of Moon Knight versus Harrow on the pyramid, right? When framed by the full moon.
Oh, yeah.
They meet. The pivot happens. What I thought was kind of cool is, and I think this is intentional, the stones of the pyramid looked like crocodile scales. I felt like they were fighting like on the back of a crocodile almost in that moment, but it looked pretty cool.
The fact that whenever he's leaping or flying or whatever, that the shape of his cape is sort of making a crescent. The fact that it's magical and fantastical makes it acceptable, and it really it's a really nice visual element that gets drawn in there. And it's funny how quickly I accepted Layla as the Scarlet Scarab. And how quickly she was just like, okay, and I know how to use everything, and I can, do all sorts of things. She was just automatic superhero.
Her costume, the wings in particular, kind of reminded me of Wonder Woman 1984's.
Oh, yeah,
armor,
that's a good point. I mean, how many ways are you going to have somebody with wings?
With metal wings, right?
Yeah. Something I touched on before, which is the whole thing about, only at this point is there an Egyptian hero in this series. The character of Mark Spector is not, and it's all these Egyptian, myths and culture and stuff is involved, and only at this point do we get someone who is actually Egyptian. So it's just interesting anyway.
I liked having Taweret speak with Layla through corpses on the ground.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting way to do it,
Did you like Taweret better in this episode?
I mean, I still thought that I still wouldn't have made that choice, but yeah, no, it worked. I had theorized that Layla might temporarily be Moon Knight because Khonshu had wanted her as an avatar, blah blah blah. But so I assumed she'd be some kind of avatar at some point, so it kind of made sense that she would be an avatar in this moment.
Yeah, that was the thing that if you were familiar with Faluli, and a character in the comics that was associated with the Scarlet Scarab, that you might have said, okay, at some point she's probably going to take on the mantle.
Big powerful moment, I suppose, in this thing is when Mark gives up the field of reeds for Steven.
Yes.
And I really like the line. It's probably my favorite line of the episode is when Mark says that his greatest superpower was creating Steven. I thought that was I like the framing of that idea. And anyway, so kudos to that.
Yeah,
that was good.
It's certainly you could see what could be appealing about the character is the fact that he's got these two personalities. And Steven is the more comic of the two personalities. So losing that aspect of him, you might say it's crippling the character. And I mention that only because it's sort of a stark contrast to what we accept as what people with multiple personality disorder, what's required of them, and that's to leave, you eventually leave those characters behind, or you find a way to integrate them into yourself. That doesn't mean now I talk in this character, now I talk like this character, more like you just, those characteristics that those characters have, you just express them in one person.
Right.
So it's interesting to me what would be the most healthy thing for this character, and the fact that they're getting along and working together is good. And obviously there's still at least one character who they haven't integrated or even are aware of. So
because let's point out at the end of this episode, another choice that Mark makes is he chooses not to follow Khonshu. Khonshu says kill Harrow because that'll end Amit, and Mark's like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing this anymore. So the fact that subconsciously he has a version of him that does do it.
Yes.
It's like, he's working against his own, his code is being broken by this other personality.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And you imagined that a difficult dilemma for him to face is how Mark and even Steven would be accepted by Layla if another character of theirs was responsible for her parents' death.
Yeah.
But, we just had a situation where Jake killed somebody, and he kills pretty mercilessly in the series when, Steven and Mark aren't aware of it. It'll be a question, in terms of will that character, is he just going to be like, well, I like to kill people? It's like, is that just what Jake is going to be? One of the things apparently one of the things I think in the comics is there's if I'm led to understand correctly, is that there's a question of whether or not one of his characters is some sort of imbalanced killer. And so we don't know anything about Jake Lockley. Maybe he is, mentally imbalanced or something, or just bloodthirsty. We don't know. So yeah, so that's certainly, it certainly suggests that they probably won't let it go for too long before we get another exploration into that.
So we saw him kill Harrow as the taxi driver or limo driver persona. He wasn't in costume because it theoretically, again, by the rules that they maybe set, it looked like it was daytime, so maybe he couldn't transform. Although in this episode, for the first time, I believe we saw Moon Knight as Moon Knight during the day. And I was like, oh. That actually kind of took me aback for a second.
I never really thought that was some limitation of him.
Okay.
Because it seems like a really dumb limitation, like, woohoo! If we can just stay out of his way at night, then we're all right. It's like,
well, it just seems like there have been a few times throughout this season where it would have been helpful to transform in the moment because he was in real threat of physical violence and be like, okay, now I've transformed, now you can't do anything to me. Pop, 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 pop. But maybe it's I don't want to suddenly become a mummy in front of these guys. It seemed like there were times where he could have used the power during the day that he didn't, and I'm not sure why. So I just assumed maybe it's because he can't. But okay.
Okay.
We also get this, we had talked about whether or not we were going to have another trial scene. Didn't really have a trial scene, but we did get gods continuing to be stupid and incompetent.
Yes.
God, the other avatars and gods are just like they were still piecing it together.
You got to give them credit though. Like once, like wait a minute, someone's attacking Harrow. Yeah. Then they realized it.
Days earlier, they'd had a trial where they were like, "Is Harrow trying to free Amit?" And they were like, stupidly judged for the defendant. Days later, Harrow shows up. Some god is wreaking havoc. I wonder who could be. What do you mean? You guys are idiots. And then they just get waylaid, off screen. But it's like they're completely useless. Anyway, that's a weird.
Yeah, what you could have done. What
in.
You could have done is, even as they're starting to like, oh no, is someone releasing Harrow? And then, someone releasing Amit, and then Harrow could have come in and said, "Oh no, I'm not." No.
Right? No.
What about Mark Spector and his
Spector's
abuse?
Doing it.
Ooh. Khonshu's still abusing him. Ooh.
Oh. Meanwhile, souls just dying left and right.
Yeah. Pay no attention to those souls dying.
Because Amit does kill quite a few folks before being dealt with. So there is a fair amount of destruction happens, especially right there. I believe I think they were in Cairo. Anyway, there was some in a nearby city where suddenly boop, 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 kill everyone.
Yeah, and that's something that again also wasn't sort of talked about. Is the aftermath? Are those people still dead, or the fact that Amit was vanquished and Harrow defeated that caused the souls to go back? Which I would guess no. I would guess those people would stay dead. But what do people say about all this? How much was seen? Because we saw that the battle between Moon Knight and that demon wasn't really seen as it was.
Right. So they probably didn't see the kaijus fighting.
Yeah, they probably didn't see that.
Although they landed on the pyramid, they were. Things were happening. Agreed. Well, we didn't talk about it.
And all the lunar eclipses that
were. Yeah, moon happening during the day, like whoop.
Yeah, but also, stars whipping past the
sky. The stars whipping past the sky for the world. Yeah, one would think. That had to have been right. That gets noticed, right?
Yeah, sure.
Somebody's like, what? I suppose, though, in a world where there's like some giant statue out in the water of one of the the Celestials and stuff, we're like, somebody's screwing with the stars. All right.
Yes, it's just like that Halloween episode of The Simpsons. Like, what do we say when something strange happens? That was good that Bart did that. That was real good.
Right, that one. Okay. I was thinking about the just don't look. So overall, I did enjoy the season. I know I threw out a lot of things that are probably considered negative about this last episode. Although I enjoyed the episode. I mean, Oscar Isaac, I really enjoyed his performance. I'd love to see more of it, frankly. I'd love to see how Mark and Steven come to acknowledge Jake, and that either conflict or acceptance or whatever that means. That would be a fun. I'd be up for it. Let's see it. But I don't know that we are. But anyway.
Yeah, hopefully we see more of May Calamali as well. Calamali, I think. Anyway, I'd like to see more of her.
Yeah, I feel like those characters could show up, in some future Marvel endeavor. Maybe even another Disney Plus show. Who knows? But it sounds like, I guess Oscar Isaac was asked in an interview, like, hey, season 2, and he's like, yeah, there's not that. Again, does that mean anything? Not really. But he didn't say, yep. It was a good series. I enjoyed it. I do not regret watching it. Thought the ending maybe didn't quite stick the landing for me. Of course, I had to eat this.
No!
It would have been perfect if they just showed 2 seconds of Layla's dad dying. Like, okay, this was the best show ever. But they didn't. They didn't, Paul.
Yeah, it was clear to everyone that they should have included that.
So, coming up, we're going to be talking about Star Trek Strange New Worlds. I've been a little less than thrilled about the later seasons of Discovery, and Star Trek Picard wasn't necessarily my favorite. But Strange New Worlds, new thing. Paul, you've seen the first episode and you like it, yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm very excited about it.
So we're jumping on board to talk Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Also, no giveaways here yet, Paul, but
okay.
We're probably going to be talking about Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness next week. I'll just say this, no spoilers here. Paul had a very strong reaction.
Yes.
Positive, negative, who knows? To this movie. So we'll come back probably, and we'll be talking about that next week as well. So thank you, Paul, as always, good sir.
Oh, you're welcome.
And we'll talk to everybody next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.